Pastor Mike here. I want to talk about the first horseman of the apocalypse today. He's written about in Revelation chapter 6, verse 1 and 2. It reads, "Now I watched when the Lamb opened one of the seven seals, and I heard one of the four living creatures say with a voice like thunder, 'Come!' And I looked, and behold, a white horse, and its rider had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he came out conquering and to conquer." And so we have the description of the first horseman of the apocalypse. Now, first of all, it's important to keep in mind that, and contrary to popular thinking, each of the four horsemen who correspond with the opening of the first four seals in Revelation chapter 6 have been riding, as it were, in judgment and wreaking havoc since the time of Christ's ascension, and will continue to do so up until the time of Christ's second coming. In particular, the first horseman is described as riding a white horse. He has a bow, a crown that was given to him, and he goes forth conquering and to conquer. Now, the various interpretations of who this horseman is that have been historically suggested include the first possibility: he is symbolic of Christ himself, which it is safe to conclude that he is not Christ, since Christ is the Lamb of God in Revelation chapter 5, and now in chapter 6, it is Christ, the Lamb of God, who just released the first horseman through the breaking of the first seal. The second possibility as to who the first horseman is, if he is not Christ, but could he be Antichrist? Well, that's a possibility, especially since the things described here that the first horseman is involved with, it sure sounds like the things Antichrist will be doing, having a bow and a crown, a symbol of rulership, and going forth conquering and to conquer. The third possibility as to who the first horseman of the apocalypse is, if he's not Christ or Antichrist, but is he symbolic of tyranny? In his popular commentary on the book of Revelation, Dr. Lewis Brighton says it this way: "The interpretation that best fits the description of this first horseman and his role is that of a spiritual evil that causes military tyrannical dominance. The rider of the white horse symbolizes and represents every form of tyranny which is won and acquired by power and force, usually warfare or forms of it, and which then by a dictatorial rule exploits, enslaves, dominates, and terrorizes." Dr. Brighton goes on, "Such tyranny often justifies its dominance by a claim of divine or quasi-divine authority, hence the horse's color of white. It will use force, of arms, of mind, of wealth, or of any other resource, to establish its authority and the exercise of it, hence the bow, and it will be victorious." I agree with Dr. Brighton and tend towards this final conclusion as regards the identity of the first horseman. The first horseman is not Jesus Christ. The first horseman is not Antichrist. The first horseman is tyranny.
He gives me love, peace, and patience.